The eyes of the Mothman. The road was empty. Ethan Walker gripped the steering wheel tightly, tried to ignore the thick fog covering the highway. Beside him, Claire stared absent-mindedly out the window, twirling a strand of her hair between her fingers. They had been driving for over an hour, leaving behind a forgotten town deep in West Virginia. The car's clock read 12:47 a.m. The wind rustled the trees along the roadside, and for a moment, Ethan felt a strange pressure in his chest, as if they were being watched. He shook his head, telling himself it was just exhaustion, but Claire spoke first. "Did you see that?" Her voice was tense, almost trembling. Ethan frowned. "See what?" She didn't answer. She just pointed toward the woods. And then he saw it. At first, he thought it was a crooked tree, just another shadow in the underbrush. But then it moved. It was tall, too tall, more than 7 feet high. Its skin was dark like charcoal, and its body looked thin, almost skeletal. But the most terrifying thing was its eyes. 2 glowing red orbs burning in the darkness like embers in a fire. Ethan felt the air stick in his throat. That thing was watching them. Claire gasped, her voice barely a whisper. "Oh my God, what is that?" Then the creature spread its wings. 2 massive, bat-like appendages unfolded into the night, and before Ethan could react, it launched into the air. "Shit!" he yelled, slamming his foot on the gas. The engine roared as they sped forward, but the creature followed them, gliding effortlessly above the road. Ethan could see it through the windshield. Its eyes burned even brighter. Claire sobbed, her breathing frantic with fear. "This isn't real. This can't be real." Ethan didn't respond. He just kept driving until the first houses of Point Pleasant appeared through the mist. And then it was gone. No sound, no trace, only silence and fear. Ethan slammed the brakes in front of his house, and they both stumbled out of the car, trembling. But even though the Mothman was gone, they knew they would see it again. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt those red eyes staring at him from some unseen corner. He tossed and turned in bed, covering his face with his hands. And then he heard it, a humming sound. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the crickets. It was high-pitched, piercing, like 1,000 voices whispering at once. Ethan covered his ears, but it didn't help. The images flooded his mind. He saw himself standing in the middle of a bridge, the Silver Bridge, cars lined up, drivers honking, the everyday life of a small town. Then he felt a tremor beneath his feet. He looked up, and there it was, the Mothman, perched on a steel beam, its burning eyes fixed on him. Ethan tried to move, but he couldn't. The sound grew louder. The bridge groaned. Steel cables snapped like fragile threads. The ground beneath him cracked open. Cars began sliding. People screamed. And then Ethan felt the drop. The icy water swallowed him whole. He struggled for air. The cold burned his skin. And above him, as the river pulled him into darkness, 2 red eyes gleamed in the distance. He jolted awake, his heart pounding. He checked the clock. 3:33 a.m. He ran a hand over his face. His skin was damp with cold sweat. He took a deep breath, trying to calm down. It was just a dream, wasn't it? Over the next few days, more people in town started talking about the creature. They claimed to have seen it on rooftops, in the fields, near the old TNT plant. Some swore it whispered to them in their sleep. Others said it watched them from their windows at night. But the real terror began on December 15th, 1967 at 5:04 p.m., when Ethan found himself stuck in traffic on the Silver Bridge. The sun was setting on the horizon. People were chatting in their cars. Some laughed, unaware of the danger. But Ethan felt a pressure in his chest. Something was wrong. And then he saw it. High above, at the top of the structure, 2 red eyes stared down at him. His blood turned to ice. No, not again. He tried to turn the ignition, but his hands were shaking too much. And then the bridge groaned. Sound of metal twisting, cables snapping, distant screams. Ethan looked ahead and saw cars begin to slide. The concrete split in half. People screamed. The river below roared with fury. And within seconds, The silver bridge collapsed. Ethan felt the pull of gravity. He felt the drop. He felt the freezing water swallow him whole. He sank. He fought to reach the surface, but something held him down. Desperate, he looked up, and the last thing he saw before blacking out were those red eyes gleaming through the wreckage. After the tragedy, the Mothman vanished. Some said it had been trying to warn them. Others believed it caused the disaster. Ethan survived, but he was never the same. He moved far away from Point Pleasant, trying to forget. But some things you can't leave behind, because sometimes in the darkness, when the lights flicker, when the wind howls through the trees, when the silence is too deep, you can feel something watching you. And if you ever stare into the darkness for too long, maybe, just maybe, two red eyes will stare back at you.